Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Wednesday with me on Get It, Got It Good. I am your host, Nysia Wilhite, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. As you see, I am alone once again, but before I go on with that, next week we'll have Gerald Hoover, and I'll explain that to you at the end. But this week I am alone, and the reason why I decided to be alone today is because I have gotten questions from you all stating who am I, where am I from, what am I about, what are my qualifications, what do I do exactly, and how do I know these people? Well, I'm going to address all of that for you guys today, and the way that I'm going to address it is by telling you a little bit about entrepreneurship, what it means, and how can you become an entrepreneur, what are some of the things it involves, and I'm going to use myself as the example, so that way you guys will get to know me a little bit better through my story, okay? So, let's start by simply stating that Get It, Got It Good is always here to give you guys information. So that's what I want to do. I want to give you guys information, and the point of that information is to make your life a little bit better, help you get a leg up, help you understand some topics that you may not have understood before, and then make sure you got that information, know where to go to get some more, and then it's all good. But then what else? How did I wind up here? And as you see throughout the show, you'll understand how I became, how I went from this girl who grew up mainly in Columbia, Maryland, to where I am now. And then maybe you'll be able to deduce some key points for yourself to help you get to where you want to go, whether it's in this field, a different field, or whatever the case may be. So, let me thank my sponsors today, which are McKeek Senior Home, Pearls of Wisdom, G&J, Cooper's House, and I'm naming all of these sponsors, and I did this sponsorship on today's show for a reason. All of the names that I just mentioned are businesses in my family. So let's start the show by addressing that. Entrepreneurship, according to the definition in the dictionary, it says, entrepreneurship, the activity of setting up business or businesses and taking on the risk in the hopes of a profit. So why do we all go into business? This is Business 101. We go into business because we want to make some money. Don't get it twisted. We all want to make some money. There's no point in going into business and go broke. That's not the motive. And so a lot of times what people will do is find something they're good at. And because they're good at it, they'll go and start a business. That could be good or bad, as you will learn in today's episode. For me, myself, I actually got introduced to business at a very early age. I am from a business family. So all of my relatives own their own businesses. I never saw any of my elder generation go to work. And I'm not kidding. So my great aunt started assisted living homes. And what she would do, she would start multiple homes and sell them to various family members. So we have several assisted living homes throughout the local area. With that being said, I was then able to go to work in one of these homes or several of these homes, and from an early age, learn how to do accounting, learn how to do payroll. I learned how to deal with employees. Can you imagine a 12-year-old girl telling you what to do if you are a 30-something-year-old grown person? It is what it is. I also learned how to address people, how to do bedside manner, because recall, we are an assisted living business. So I learned early on how to get new clients, how to market, how to deal with certain situations. But from this experience, it afforded us and a little bit about my family structure is I have a sister who's not that much older than me. She's 2 years older than me. And so my mother would partner us together in everything, good, bad, or indifferent. And so when we did extracurricular activities, we had the opportunity to pick what we wanted to do. Well, I wanted to be a gymnast, truth be told, and so I picked gymnastics. Me and my sister both had to then do gymnastics. She hated it. Therefore, it was her turn to pick when she made us quit that. And she picked dance. So you all know I say it multiple times that I am a dancer. I am from the dance world. My sister is the reason for that. She picked dance. I did not want to dance at all. It was not for me. I was mad. I wanted to do gymnastics. It wasn't my fault she kept falling and hurting herself, right? So when we went to dance class, she decided to do 2 classes. She did a jazz class and a tap class. I, being stubborn, decided to only do jazz. Obviously, I liked it because I went back the following year to do another jazz class. She went back and still did tap and jazz. The 3rd year, she decided to audition for the competition team. And she made it. I did not. Michael Jordan didn't make it the first time either, right? So that year I decided I wanted to do tap as well because I wanted to be on the competition line as well. Well, this whole time she was taking tap, she was teaching me at home the tap moves that the teachers taught her during the classes. So when I decided to take tap, I got bumped up from 1st year to 3rd year because I already knew the things. That did not make her happy, but who cares? So I then auditioned the following year for the competition. So now we both made it. Now here's the point of the story. We both made competition line. Therefore, all of my dancers out there from the dance world, you know that dances is very expensive for a lot of people. The tuition is costly. The costumes is costly. The travel is costly. And now here we are dancing 5 to 6 days a week, every week. And it's 2 of us. There's 2 costumes for every routine we were doing. There's traveling. We've been up and down the East Coast, Boston, everywhere, competing. That created a financial strain for my mother because she was a single mother. And so I got introduced into my second line of business, which is dancing, dance teaching, right? So at the age of 16, the studio came to me or actually they came to my mother and gave me the opportunity to help apprentice. So I took the opportunity and then I learned how to teach at 16. So now I just had a birthday, right? If it's your birthday, make some noise. We won't go into how old I am. It doesn't matter. If you were watching a few shows back, I actually let the cat out the bag, but I guess you'll have to go back and watch that show, right? So I actually had a birthday, so I've been teaching for a while. Now, entrepreneurs know that there are several different ways to make money. And if you're an entrepreneur, you also know that you have to develop your mind continually. You have to learn your craft. You have to do self-study. You have to read books, listen to audio CDs, and enrich your mind. The more you enrich your mind, the more money you can make. So there's this one author that many people know of named Robert Kiyosaki. He has a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which was his first book. It's like an autobiography. And as a follow-up to that book, he wrote a book called Cash Flow Quadrant. In this book, he tells that there are 4 ways to make money. You can make money as an employee, which most of our population do. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just describing the different ways. As an employee, you go to work and you're trading your time for money. So for as long as you're there is as long as you get paid. There's great things with this. You go to work, you can calculate how much money you're going to make. You can go home and be done. Now, the problem with this system is that you are being paid on the position, right? So if you're being paid on the position, whether you are the worst at it or the best at it, you're getting paid the same rate. And that means there's a cap on how much you can make. You also have a boss telling you when to come into work, when to go home, when you can have vacations, how much you're going to make, where you're going to live because he controls your money and everything else. And depending on the person, you may or may not like that. So as a dancer and now as a teacher and being older, I realized that I'm not exactly an employee. So what am I? The second option that Robert Kiyosaki introduces is self-employment. So as a dancer, as a barber, as a lawyer, as an athlete, as an actress, as any of these professions, right? You are self-employed usually because you are setting your rates. You are deciding when to go to work. You're deciding when not to go to work. So as self-employed, you are trading time or money. So if I am a hairdresser, if I want to make more money, I cut more hair. Simple as that. If I want to go to Disney, I go to Disney. But what am I not doing? I'm not cutting hair. Therefore, I'm not making any money. So as a dance teacher, I realized that I was self-employed, which was fabulous for me because I got to go where I wanted to go, when I wanted to go. I told them when I was going to teach, what I was going to teach, how long I was going to teach it, how much money I was going to charge, everything. So I set my race, I set my worth, and I got to go wherever I wanted to go. Now, I've been contracted to corporate businesses, to colleges, to high schools, to elementary schools, middle schools, private, public. I've been everywhere. That means I had to drive everywhere as well. So, I am self-employed. I'm going to tell you one of the main problems of a person becoming an entrepreneur and not understanding the differences between being self-employed, employee, business owner, and investor. That is of the liability that you take on as a self-employed person. So, I'm driving everywhere as this dance teacher. And one day, I thought it would be a great idea to crash my car head on into a brick wall 80 miles per hour. Yes, 80 miles per hour. Now, by the grace of God, it was not my time to go. Matter of fact, I walked out of that car accident with a rug burn from the airbag. Completely oblivious to what had just happened because multitasking is a great idea, people. No, it's not. It's not a great idea. I wasn't paying attention. I was avoiding somebody else, and I swerved and hit the wall. Didn't even see it coming. Therefore, the no brakes and the highway speeds doesn't match. I totaled the car. Thank goodness I walked away. What it made me realize, however, was that being self-employed is not a good idea without stacking that cash and investing it and having the right, fail-safes in place, the right options in place. So my husband at the time was not working because we have 50 million kids. So daycare alone was costing us $1,500 a month. I was literally paying the woman's mortgage. So it made no sense for us both to work and pay that much money for daycare because we had just had the youngest child. So he decided to stay home. But recall, I'm self-employed. So when I crash my car, I'm not working because I have no transportation. And if you're not working as self-employed, you're not making any money, right? So I wanted to understand, how can I still make money whether I'm there or not? And that's when you go into Robert Kiyosaki's third way to make money called business ownership. So I come from this business family, and they're running these different assisted living homes. And I realized there are two different type of people working in those homes. So I had the family members that never want to cross foot of their business, and the family members who never leave their business. Now, me wanting that flexibility, because that's why I went into business in the first place. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, how I wanted to do it, regardless. So I didn't want to be tied down to my business. So I wanted to find out, what is the differences between these two businesses? So what is business ownership? One business where she was always there, couldn't retire, she had people working for her, which is the definition of business ownership, having people work for you. But the other lady had people working for her as well. So that wasn't the key difference for me. I realized that the key difference for me was the systems in that business. You have to have people working for you, and you have to have systems in place that regardless if you're there or not there, the business keeps working without you. A great way to test that is to leave your business for 6 to 12 months, come back and see if it's there. If it's there, your systems work, right? So one lady, she was the system. She was always there. She always did the upper level management things. So if she left, those things did not get done. Therefore, even though she had people working for her, she couldn't leave because those people only did the minute details, the day-to-day, the bedside manner things, the cooking, the preparation, the cleaning, the things like that. But she did not train anybody on the systems that would create the cash flow in that company, how to invoice people, how to get more clients, what is the systems behind the marketing, things like that. While as the other lady did not like to work at all. She loved complete time freedom. She would prefer to pay. In order to do that, you have to have systems in place so that way the business runs smoothly. Now, once you have the business working, up, running, you can leave it if that is what you so choose. Then you can take all of that money that you have, you can blow it, party, who cares, or you can invest it, which is the fourth way that Robert Kiyosaki and Cash Flow Quadrant says is to make money. So now you have entrepreneurship, you have self-employed, you have business ownership, and then you have investor. Only 10% of the population is on the business and investor side. Everybody else is on the other side. Now, 90% of the wealth is controlled by the people, the business owners, and the investors, right? So think about that for a second. 10% of the population are business owners and investors, but they control 90% of the wealth. Why is that? It's about knowledge and so many more things that we'll have to discuss on another show, right? So how do you know if entrepreneurship is right for you? So remember earlier I said that a lot of people figure out what they're good at and say, oh, I will make a great business. And then I could go to work when I want to. I can stay home when I want to, and not understand the different ways to make money. So then what happens a lot of times, people go into business. They don't know how to put the systems into place, right? And because they don't know how to put the systems in place, they're like one of my aunts who then becomes the system. And then when you become the system, everything is dependent upon you and what you know and what you can do. And so you have all of the weight of the business on you. And so you cannot leave it. So then you become enslaved by your business. You don't have a job. You own a job. So now, whereas if you went to work as an employee, you could do your job, go home, and be done. But if you own your job, you have it with you all day, every day. And what happens is it weighs a lot of people down, and they begin to resent that they went into business in the first place because they didn't have the mentors in place to do it right. So that's one of the reasons why, just to go back to why I do the show, is to give you guys some information and insights and things to think about prior to going into business. Another reason why some people who want to go in business or do go into business have issues is because they don't understand the financial concepts. So when I decided first to go into business for myself, because I realized self-employment was not where it was at for me, having a family and responsibilities and crashing my car as a wake-up call, I decided I'm going to go into business. The best thing to do to go into business, and what I thought a business was a storefront, a brick and mortar. So I go from being self-employed and making 95% profit on everything I did. So the other expenses was simply transportation for most of it, right? No overhead, no nothing. I want to go into business, so I go and open up a storefront. You go upside down real quick. Because what happens is you take out loans if you don't already have the money stored up, and you put it into these brick and mortars, you build it out, and you realize, I'm going into business so I can have that time freedom. So how do I get time freedom? You need people and systems working for you. So in order to get the people, which is the second largest expense a business owner have, you have to pay those people, right? So now I have this overhead of the facility, and I have this overhead of the employees. And if a business owner want to make more money, the employees is the first thing to go because they are the next largest expense under the lights and the brick and mortar. So now I have this overhead, and so all of the money coming in is now going out the door to expenses. So I'm making less money. So that's a problem. You go into business to make money, and you realize you're upside down because you have these bills to pay back, the loans, or you deplete your savings, which is one of the issues that a lot of people say they have. Or it's risky because you have all this money tied up. And so I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I'm doing good. Let's go and open up a second one. So then I open up these businesses, and I realize I'm making less money. This is not a good idea. So there's my experience. So now I have experience with running somebody else's business in the assisted living field. Then I have the experience of being self-employed as a dance teacher, a dancer, a professional dancer, just like professional athletes. You get hurt, you don't work, you don't make money. Then I decided to go into business and open up brick and mortars, and then you realize you're a slave to that business, and now you got all this overhead and these liabilities. Some of the other risks that people have mentioned, no income, because the last person, contrary to belief, that gets paid is the business owner. And here's why. You'll fail if you don't do it this way. If you don't have the people working for you, then you don't have the business to run, depending on what type of business it is. Or you go back into that self-employment status. And the point is to get free of that, right? They deplete their savings because you have to go into building out that brick and mortar or investing in marketing and branding and whatever the case may be. They are dependent on others. So like the one family member who never wanted to walk through their door, they depended completely on other people to run their business. But nobody will care for your business like you will care for your business. And if you don't teach them right, and if you don't have fail safes or oversee that, all kinds of havoc can come into that situation. People can steal from you. People can lie to you and change your books. People can get you into legal trouble. And because it's your business, you are liable. You should have been overseeing that, right? You sacrifice your time and your health. So we are on the health and wellness channel. Why do I talk about business so much and going to be successful? One of the things that causes people the most stress is cash flow, money, having the opportunity and the options to do what they want to do in their life. And if one of the biggest stressors is money, then I like to talk to people about how to get from point A to point B. And depending on your route, that's why I have authors and actresses and athletes and musicians and whatever else on this show. Because I want you to see these different people coming from normal circumstances moving to success. And so you can get key points on how to get from point A to point B, because you need to know how to get from your current situation to a better situation. The better the situation you can get in and the more cash flow you can make, the better your health, your mental health, your physical health, everything is tied together. Just on a side note, I think us entrepreneurs are somewhat ADD or ADHD, because you have to have that type of energy to keep it moving, and especially in the upstart phases. Hence the reason I love to support the community upstarts, the young actresses who are doing things and about to explode, the young musicians. That's why you see a lot of that on this show. Some of the rewards are tremendous, however. You can be your own boss, right? When to go, when not to go, flexibility, go on field trips with your children, travel, do whatever you want. You following your passion. So a lot of times people feel trapped in these dead-end jobs. As an entrepreneur, you can follow your own goals and dreams. A dream deferred makes the heart grow sick. Is in the greatest book in the world, as I'm always told. Read the Bible, people. Work satisfaction. If you're following your passions and your dreams, you are satisfied. Not to mention, if you take an idea and see it through, you get this sense of satisfaction that you cannot compare to. If you help somebody else do the same thing, it's even better, right? Flexible hours, already addressed that. And unlimited income potential. So if the biggest stressor is money, and you go and get a job with somebody else, they tell you how much money they will pay you, what the position is worth, not what you're worth. Therefore, you will never make what you're worth working for somebody else, because it's a business. A business is in business to make money. And one of the biggest expenses is you as an employee. A lot of people don't realize that. Therefore, there's this disconnect. You want to make more, they want to make more. In order for them to make more, you have to make less. It's not a win-win situation, okay? So, entrepreneurship, a lot of people say, well, Nysia, I don't have the qualities you have in order to be an entrepreneur. I'm not outspoken. I'm not this. I'm not that. As we wrap up, I want you to check this video out really quick and decide for yourself if you are an entrepreneur, if you have any of these qualities, and anything else. And then when we come right back from this video, it's just to say c'est la vie, to be an original and not a copy. So enjoy this video. We'll be right back with the wrap up.
"15 signs you're an entrepreneur." Passionate, dedicated, optimistic. These words can apply to entrepreneurs. But insecure and troublemaker are also accurate, according to many who know a success when they see one. You might be an entrepreneur if the following traits describe you. 1. You take action. Barbara Corcoran, founder of the Corcoran Group and co-star of TV's Shark Tank, says people who have a concept but not a detailed strategy are more likely to have that special entrepreneurial ability. Corcoran's recommendation? Invent as you go, rather than spending time writing a plan at your desk. 2. You're insecure. Many entrepreneurs are really insecure underneath, Corcoran says. Those who are nervous about failing can become hyper-focused on success. If you feel insecure, use that emotion to drive you to achieve your business goals. 3. You're crafty. One of my favorite TV shows growing up was MacGyver, says Tony Hsieh, CEO of Zappos, because he never had exactly the resources he needed, but would somehow figure out how to make everything work out. Hsieh says he admires MacGyver's creativity, optimism, and street smarts. It's not about having enough resources, but being resourceful with what you do have. 4. You're obsessed with cash flow. All I ever thought about was cash flow and liquidity, says Joe Gustafson, founder of Brainshark. You need cash to fight the battle one more day, even if you have the best company in the world. 5. You get into hot water. Stefan Bork, founder and CEO of Incognito Software, says true entrepreneurs are more likely to ask for forgiveness than permission. Entrepreneurs are never satisfied with the status quo, he says. Bork says, I wish my employees would get into more trouble because it shows they're on the lookout for opportunities to improve. 6. You're fearless. Where most avoid risk, entrepreneurs see potential, says Chef Robert Irvine, host of Food Network's Restaurant Impossible. In some ways, he says, entrepreneurs are the ultimate optimists because they operate under the belief that their investments of time and money will eventually pay off. 7. You can't sit still. Entrepreneurs have unbridled energy that fuels them long past the time when their employees have gone home. They're eager, excited, and energized about business in a way that makes them stand out. 8. You're malleable. If you have only one acceptable outcome in mind, your chances of making it are slim, cautions Rosemary Camposano, president and CEO of Halo Blow-Dry Bars. Smart entrepreneurs consistently evolve, tweaking their business concepts in response to market feedback. 9. You enjoy navel-gazing. Entrepreneurs need to be comfortable with the process of evaluating their own performance, says Laura Novak-Meyer, owner of Little Nest Portraits. Little Nest surveys every client to ask for opportunities for improvement, and Meyer has worked closely with a business coach to identify personal areas where she needs to improve. 10. You're motivated by challenges. When confronted by problems, entrepreneurs rise to the occasion. Challenges motivate them to work harder, says Jeff Platt, CEO of the Sky Zone Indoor Trampoline Park franchise. Candace Nelson, founder of Sprinkles Cupcakes, agrees. Despite naysayers who questioned her idea for a bakery in the midst of the carb-fearing early 2000s, she persevered and now has locations in 8 states. 11. You consider yourself an outsider. Entrepreneurs aren't always accepted, says Vincent Petrick, founder of JP Licks, a chain of ice cream shops. They are often rejected for being different in some way, and that just makes them work harder, he says. Rather than copying what most ice cream shops were doing, Petrick forged his own path. His early competitors, all but one, are no longer in business. 12. You recover quickly. It's a popular notion that successful entrepreneurs fail fast and fail often. If you fail, resist the urge to mope or feel sorry for yourself. Don't wallow, move on to the next big thing immediately. 13. You fulfill needs. Many people recognize marketplace holes, but the true entrepreneur takes them from cocktail napkin to reality, says Jennifer Dawn, partner in Savor the Success, a business network for women. Entrepreneurs think of a way to fix it and take steps to fix it. They're innovators. 14. You surround yourself with advisors. Actress Jessica Alba, co-founder and president of The Honest Company, says it's important to surround yourself with people smarter than you and to listen to ideas that aren't yours. True entrepreneurs don't hire yes men. They talk to those with experience and conduct thorough research, gathering as much information as they can to make informed decisions. 15. You work and play hard. Entrepreneurs fall down and pick themselves up until they get it right, says Micah Kaufman, who snowboards and sails in addition to running Fiverr, the online marketplace he co-founded. During Fiverr's launch, instead of trying to deal with an endless number of potential challenges, Kaufman and his team focused on the single biggest challenge every marketplace has: building liquidity. He says, not building liquidity is like worrying about the skills needed for frontside 360 jumps before learning snowboarding basics.
Welcome back, everybody. So as you see from those 15 steps, I am certain that you fall into at least one or two of those steps. Entrepreneurship is not for a personality type or a certain person who grew up in a certain area or have certain connections. Entrepreneurship can be for anybody with the right information, the right mentors, and the right game plans. So definitely, if you want to take that leap, find somebody that you can reach out to give you that information. Watch next week because we're going to have Gerald Hoover, who is a college professor, acclaimed author, award-winning author, sportscaster, come on to the show and explains to you exactly how he went from just being a collegiate person and teaching his classes to then creating this series, this hero series, and now it's being put into school curriculums. So definitely come back next Wednesday at 11:30 on WBGR Health and Wellness, and to learn from somebody else who have gone from unknown name to getting the notoriety and the success that you may wish for yourself. So definitely, I appreciate you all being here. Tune in next week, 11:30, same place, same time, for myself and Gerald Hoover, who will be hopefully giving you some more knowledge. As always, be an original, because an original is always, 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 always worth more than a copy. Have a great day, you guys.